My greetings to everyone. I am Professor Namita Rajput, Professor in Department of Commerce, Sri Aurobindo College, University of Delhi. In the ongoing series of corporate governance, today we are going to talk more on regulatory framework of corporate governance in India. Now, corporate governance refers to the system of rules, practices and the processes by which a company is directed and controlled. It encompasses the mechanism through which the companies and those in control are held accountable. Effective corporate governance ensures the transparency, fairness and accountability in a company's relationship with its stakeholders, including the shareholders, employees, customers and the community. It helps in building the trust, promoting the ethical business practices, enhancing the company's reputation and ultimately contributing to its long-term success and sustainability. So, let us talk about the regulatory bodies in India. Today, we are going to talk on the different bodies which are responsible for regulation of the corporate governance in India. The first is Security and Exchange Board of India and popularly called as SEBI. So, let us see what the role SEBI plays. The Security and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, is the regulatory authority established to oversee the security market in India. It was founded in the year 1988 and given a statutory power through the Security Exchange Board of India Act 1992. SEBI objective is to protect the interest of the investors in the securities and to promote the development of and to regulate the security market. Let us see what are the key functions of Security Exchange Board of India. The SEBI regulates the stock exchanges and the other security market to ensure that they function efficiently, transparently and fairly. It sets the rules and the regulations that govern their operations. Investor protection. SEBI protects the investor's interest by enforcing the regulations that prevent the fraudulent and the unfair trade practices. It educates the investors about their rights and the responsibilities and provide a mechanism for the grievance redressal. The regulatory market intermediaries. The SEBI regulates and supervises the market intermediaries such as the broker, sub-broker, merchant bankers, registrars and the other entities associated with the security market. It ensures that they adhere to the regulatory standards and maintain the transparency. Now, promoting of fair trading. SEBI aims to prevent the insider trading and other manipulative practices that can actually distort the market fairness. It has the authority to investigate and take the actions against the violators. And of course, the ensuring of and enforcement of the corporate governance is the very important aspect and the function what SEBI plays. SEBI promotes a good governance practices by mandating the disclosures and adherence to the governance norms by the listed companies. It requires the companies to provide the timely and accurate information to the stakeholders. The next is your development of the security market. Security Exchange Board of India, it works towards the development and the modernization of the security market by introducing the new products, practices and the technology to enhance the market efficiency and integrity. Then the next role is played by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, we call it as MCA. Let us see its role. The Ministry of Corporate Affairs is the primary authority for regulating the corporate affairs in India. It is responsible for the administration of the corporate laws and the regulations, including the Companies Act 2013 and the other allied legislations. MCA ensures that the corporate sector operates in a very transparent, accountable and a legally compliant manner. And let us see what the function MCA plays as per as the regulatory bodies in India for the corporate governance is concerned. The first and the foremost important key function of MCA is administration of the company law. MCA administers the Companies Act 2013, which governs the incorporation, regulation and the dissolution of the companies in India. It ensures that the companies comply with the regulatory requirements and the corporate governance standards. The corporate governance. MCA promotes the good corporate governance practices through the various regulations and the guidelines. It encourages the companies to adopt the transparent and accountable governance practices to build the investor confidence and protect the stakeholder interest. The next is your regulation of the corporate entities. MCA regulates and monitors the corporate entities, including the companies, limited liability partnerships and other business organizations. It ensures that they operate within the legal framework and meet their statutory obligations. Investor protection and the grievance redressal. MCA protects the investor's interest by enforcing the corporate disclosure norms and providing a mechanism for resolving the investor grievances. It takes the action against the companies and directors for non-compliance and the malpractices. Let's see the corporate social responsibility. MCA oversees the implementation of the corporate social responsibility, we call it as CSR provisions under the Companies Act 2013. It ensures that the eligible companies undertake the CSR activities and report on their CSR initiatives. Next function is your insolvency and bankruptcy. MCA administers the insolvency and the bankruptcy code, we call it as IBC 2016, which provides a framework for the resolution of insolvency and the bankruptcy cases for the corporate, partnerships and the individuals. It aims to streamline and expedite the insolvency resolution process. Now, MCA sets and enforces the standards for the audit and the accounting practices through the regulatory bodies like the National Financial Reporting Authority and the Institute of Chartered Accountancy of India. So, we can say that the regulatory framework in India, spearheaded by Security Exchange Board of India and the Ministry of Corporate Affairs, they play a very crucial role in maintaining the integrity, transparency and the efficiency of the corporate and the security market. Now, as far as the regulatory bodies in India is concerned, SEBI focuses on protecting the investors and regulating the security market, while MCA oversees the corporate governance, company law administration and investor protection. So, together they ensure a robust regulatory environment conducive to the sustainable economic growth and the investor confidence. So, let us start with the Companies Act 2013. The Companies Act 2013 is a significant piece of legislation governing the corporate affairs in India. So, let us see what are the key provisions and what is their impact. The first key provision is a one-person company, we call it as OPC. It was introduced, the concept of OPC, allowing a single individual to establish a company, which was not possible under the previous Companies Act 1956. It was only after the passing of the Companies Act 2013 that OPC provisions were formed. Now, let us see what is the impact. It encourages the entrepreneurship by providing a simpler and a more flexible structure for individual business owners. Now, the next provision we are going to talk upon as far as the Companies Act 2013 is concerned is about the CSR, that is the corporate social responsibility. It mandates that the company with a certain turnover, net worth or profit must spend at least 2% of their average profits on the CSR activities. Now, what is the impact? It promotes the corporate philanthropy and ensures that the business contribute to the societal development. Now, let's talk about the provisions which was given by Companies Act 2013 relating to independent directors. It requires certain classes of the companies to have the independent directors on their board. Now, let's see their impact. It ensures that the corporate governance by ensuring the independent oversight and reducing the conflict of interest. The National Company Law Tribunal, we call it as NCLT. It constitutes that NCLT and the National Company Law Appellate Tribunal NCLAT to replace the Company Law Board and other authorities. It provides a unification, adjudication of the mechanism for the corporate disputes, insolvency and the other matters, which is aiming to a quicker and more efficient resolution. Now, what is the financial statement and the audit? It specifies that the detailed requirement for the financial statements, including the inclusion of the consolidated financial statement for the companies with the subsidiaries. It requires the rotation of the auditors every 5 years to ensure independence. It enhances the transparency, accuracy and the reliability of the financial reporting. Now, let's see about the fraud detection and prevention. The key provisions of the Companies Act 2013 introduces the fraud detection and the prevention with the stringent measures to detect and prevent the fraud, including the severe penalties and imprisonment for the offenders. It deters the corporate fraud and protects the investors' interest. The private placements. It provides a detailed framework for the private placements of the securities, ensuring that it is conducted in a very fair and the transparent manner. It protects the investors by regulating the process and ensuring an adequate disclosure. Now, there is a concept of related party transactions which was introduced by the Companies Act 2013. It requires the approval from the board of directors and in some cases the shareholders for the related party transactions. It ensures that such transactions are conducted at the arm's length and are in the company's best interest. Misuse of the power by the related parties. Now, let's talk about the directors' responsibilities and accountability. It ensures that the accountability of the directors by specifying their duties and responsibility more clearly. It introduces a very stringent penalties for the non-compliance with these duties. It promotes the responsible management and protects the shareholders' interest. Now, let's talk about the investor protection. It establishes that the Investor Education and the Protection Fund, that is IEPF, to promote the investor awareness and education. It has a deep impact. It strengthens the investor protection and the confidence in the corporate sector. Now, when you talk about the improved corporate governance, the Act strengthens the corporate governance through the provisions like the mandatory independent directors, audit committees and the stricter director responsibilities. Increased compliance requirements is another feature, key provision which was given by the Companies Act 2013. The companies now face more comprehensive compliance requirement which can increase the administrative burdens but also ensure a better regulatory adherence. It enhances the transparency and accountability. The detailed disclosure requirements and the stringent auditing standards improve the transparency and hold that the company is accountable to the shareholders and the regulators. Encouragement of the startups and the small business. The provisions like one-person company and the simplified incorporation procedure, it fosters the entrepreneurship and make it very easier for the small business to operate. The focus on CSR, the mandatory CSR spending, the provision ensures that the companies contribute to the social welfare and of course integrating a social responsibility to their business models. Investor protection and the education. It measures like IEPF and the regulations on the related party transaction safeguard investor interest and promote a market integrity. The streamlined dispute resolution. The establishment of NCLT and NCLAT, it provides a more efficient and a specialized forum for resolving the corporate disputes. So overall, the Companies Act 2013, it aims to create a more robust, transparent and investor-friendly corporate environment in India. The Security Exchange Board of India Listing Obligations and Disclosure Requirement Regulation 2015. The SEBI, that is the Listing Obligations and the Disclosure Requirement Regulation 2015, we call it as LODR. It sets forth the obligations of the listed entities to ensure a transparency, investor protection and the integrity of the security market. Let's see the key compliance requirement. The LODR requirements consolidate and streamline the provisions of the various existing listing agreements into a single document, ensuring that the listed entities adhere to the standardized disclosure norms. The regulations aim to promote a better corporate governance and ensure a timely and accurate dissemination of the information of the investors. Let's see some key provisions and the compliance requirement. Of this, we are going to discuss on the disclosure of material events and the information. The listed entities must disclose all the material events and the information that could impact the investor decisions promptly. It also ensures that the stakeholders have a timely access to the significant information affecting the company's performance and the operations. Now, let's see what the corporate governance requirements are all about as far as the Listing Obligation and Disclosure Requirement Regulation 2015 is concerned. The mandatory constitution of the various committees like the Audit Committee, Nomination and Remuneration Committee, Stakeholder Relationship Committee and the Risk Management Committee. An independent director must comprise a specialized portion of the board. It strengthens the governance framework, enhancing the accountability and the oversight. The quarterly and the annual financial results. Listed entities are required to submit their quarterly and the annual financial results to the stock exchanges within the prescribed timelines. Financial results must be published in the newspapers and uploaded on the company's website, which promotes the transparency, allows for the investors to make informed decisions based on the company's financial health. The annual report must include the detailed disclosure like the management discussion and the analysis, the corporate governance reports and the section of the company's CSR activities. It provides the comprehensive information about the company's performance, governance and the social responsibilities. It requires the prior approval from the Audit Committee for all RPTs, that is the related party transactions. A significant related party transaction must also receive a shareholder approval. And it also ensures that the related party transactions are conducted at the arm's length and are in the best interest of the company. The shareholder pattern. The listed entities must disclose their shareholding pattern to the stock exchanges on a quarterly basis, which ensures the transparency regarding the ownership structure of the company. And the companies must formulate and disclose a code of conduct for the board members and the senior management. It sets the ethical standards and the expectation for the company's leadership. The regular board meetings and the committee meetings must be held with the detailed minutes maintained. It ensures the effective oversight and the decision making at the board level. The prohibition of the insider trading. The compliance with the Security Exchange Board of India, that the ensuring that the unpublished price sensitive information is not misused. It also protects the integrity and the investor interest by preventing the insider trading. The next is your whistleblower policy. The companies must establish a vigil mechanism for the directors and employees to report a genuine concern. It also ensures the transparency and accountability within the organization. The compliance certificate. The company's secretary and the compliance officer, they must submit a quarterly compliance report to the stock exchanges. The regular monitoring of the compliance, it ensures the adherence to the regulatory requirements. Then of course, it was about the subsidiary governance. Listed entities must ensure that the least one independent director is on the board of material unlisted subsidiaries. The significant transactions or arrangements of the unlisted subsidiaries must be disclosed. It extends to the governance norms to the subsidiaries, ensuring a consistent oversight. So, if we adhere to all these requirements, definitely we are going to bring in the culture of transparency and compliance, and if this kind of an environment prevails, the time is not far that the overall transparency, accountability environment will prevail. Thank you so much.